Hey everybody, it's Garrett from Navajo Illuminations. You can find me on Facebook, Garrett Duncan, but also feel free to like my Navajo Illuminations Facebook page. And on top of that, I have my website, navajoilluminations.com, in which I will be posting more videos. This has been long awaited. This demonstration about utilizing the Sasquatch stick. I've been calling it the magic stick, and I'll be posting on my website the story about how it came into manifestation. It was actually as a result of the trip down to the res, to our sheep camp in New Mexico, and we were given these gifts. So I wanted to share with you how to utilize your stick, your magic stick. When you first receive it, you may receive it in this form as you've been gifted either by me or one of everyone else who has them, who's giving them freely, because Sasquatch says we're supposed to go about distributing them to those who are ready. You may have purchased them also from the Squashy medicine bag. So the Squashy medicine bag also has a few chips in here. It has the Ponderosa pine chips, and on top of that it has the wood chip. So it doesn't matter how big or small your chip is, it's all about the energy. And so that's how Sasquatch works. But I just want to demonstrate with you and show you how to utilize your stick as a clearing tool and to release all that no longer serves, very simply. So Sasquatch, as they came into our lives, has been demonstrating simplicity. So having fun, making sure that you are enjoying and laughing and lightheartedness, because they see us as their little brothers and sisters, and they are very closely aligned with the Lemurians, who are the one-hearted ones. And so Sasquatch and the Lemurians, along with others, the way they keep their vibes high is by keeping it simple, but also having fun. So I'm going to demonstrate with you with the stick, very simply. So you're just going to draw a box big enough for you to stand in front of you, and then step in. That's it. And what's going to happen as you're inside the box, just kind of pay attention. Pay attention to what you're feeling. You may feel some tingling. You may feel some, like a vacuum cleaner effect. That's how I like to describe it. It's like a vacuum cleaner effect that's like taking off all the gunk. So what it's doing is removing all that no longer serves. You can also set an intention before you draw the box, like maybe if there are some things that you want to release and let go, some old patterning, some old thoughts as you're ready to move forward into the flow, maybe especially from the emotions perspective, some sadness, depression, some anger, some stress. For those of you who are still working the muggle job, the 8 to 5, you can certainly draw a box and have yourself sit in the box no more than 15 minutes, and I'll explain to you a reason why you can't be in it more than 15 minutes. But as you draw the box, you're just standing in there and you just kind of let it all go. And as I mentioned, what happens is there's this vacuum cleaner effect that's just taking place, and it's releasing all that no longer serves. And you can also accelerate the process by taking the stick, and like I said, no matter how big or small, you can start to kind of move and scrape off the energy. If you're familiar with the featherweight teachings, we utilize our feathers, our sword feathers in this regard, but you can use the stick the same way. So you just take the stick and you're moving it. You're just kind of brushing yourself off. And what's happening as you're doing this is you're just letting go all the energy, all the stuff, the aches, pains, old patterns and thoughts no longer serve, right? And when you're done, you basically step back outside the box and you're going to use the stick, you're going to erase it. You just erase it. Just erase. And boom. And just for kicks, step back in and see if you notice a change. See if you notice anything different. So you step back in. Me, because I'm so sensitive, I don't feel anything. The thing is, it's the stick. The stick has been infused vibrationally with Sasquatch energy. They supercharged it for us. So this is the key. So the key is opening this window for you to step in and then back into gunk. The question has been asked, Garrett, why do we use the box? Why not a circle? Why not a triangle? This is just part one. Part 2, I'll explain when to use the circle, but the reason why they said to use a box is because it's like a vacuum cleaner effect, and what it is the purpose behind it is to let stuff go. And what's happening underneath is it's being transmuted by the crystals. There are crystalline generators underneath that were created by the Lemurians, and they are basically sucking all the stuff from above, because their generators are moving like this, and they're pulling all that gunk, and the energy is being transmuted by these crystals. And then from there, what happens is they're going back into Mama Earth, and then she's utilizing it how she wishes to do so. So as I step back out again, now erase. Very simply. So, key thing, don't stay in your box more than 15 minutes. We learned this the hard way because we were starting to establish how to work with the box, and, during the gathering of healers last August. And what ended up happening is we had our boxes open too long and people started falling asleep. So it got to the point where you were really relaxed, and people, like I said, they started to fall asleep, and we realized, oh, we're only supposed to be in there for so long. So I always recommend no more than 15 minutes. Other ways that you can utilize your stick in addition to the box and the box is you can use it as a clearing tool for spaces. This is something that came into manifestation for me because I do a clearing for a hotel in downtown Denver, and I was running out of my herbal solution. So as I was coming to that conclusion, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now? I'm almost out. Sasquatch was there with me, and they said, well, draw your box. I'm like, oh, we could use it, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So what you want to do in that instance, if you're using the box to clear a space, you want to set an intention to keep that box only open for maybe an hour or two, no more than 2. So what I did is I drew the box and I programmed it. I actually programmed it, and I asked helpers to keep the box open with the intention to neutralize and clear all negative energy, those energies that no longer serve. Keep the box open until midnight. So that's like 2 hours from the time that I was performing the clearing. And so you just set an intention there, and then upon midnight, close it. So you ask your helpers, you give them an assignment, ask them to close it for you. Okay? So that's how you would work with it. I've had questions too where individuals say, well, Garrett, I have this coworker, and this coworker is a pain in the butt, and I have a hard time, they're out to get me, can I put them in a box? So I'm like, no, you probably don't want to do that because the law of free will, as you know, you need to get permission from individuals if you're performing healing on them. So what I did recommend and say, why don't you just draw boxes around you? So let's say this is their cue, you have their cue right here, your chair, and their cues right next to you, or else you have their office around. So you could take your stick and just draw a box there, draw a box here, draw a box here. And then what you're doing is you're just putting the intention behind it that these are serving any energy that's being directed to you in a not so good way, in a not so fun way. If it's aggressive or if it's just not friendly, it's going to be vacuumed up. And you're not putting yourself in it, you're actually creating the boxes around you. And then, like I said, if you remember, you can close them at the end of the day, or you can only keep them open for a few hours. You don't necessarily have to have them open all day long. You forget, oh my gosh, don't freak out. You forget, you have helpers, there's a reason why they're there. Hey you guys, I left my boxes open at work. Could you do me a favor? Thank you so much for closing them. That's it. Very simply, very effective, magic stick, squashy stick. The other thing I wanted to share with you in addition to the stick is that some of you may have the updated version. So the updated version, this idea was given to both Gail and I, Gail Fowler of Give Gifts. She was there with us on this journey to the Navajo Nation when we received these sticks, and both her and I were in her office one night, and I had asked her to create a wand, and I said, I'm feeling this need to wrap my stick and include a piece of selenite on it. And then we took some old cedar branches that we used, that we captured and collected down at the sheep camp, and I wrapped this and I made this wand. So what we found is that when you add your stick and you create a wand, it's making more of a deeper, quicker acceleration in the process. And so it's basically thinking of it as more of amplifying. So it's amplifying your intention, but it's also amplifying the box and amplifying the neutralization that's taking place as you step in. So this is just as effective as this. The only difference, this has got a little bit more firepower if you want to look at it that way. So here, selenite, magic stick. We also have a grounding. As I was telling Gail about this vision I was seeing, I said we need to have a little bit of a grounding element, so therefore it's not too strong. So kyanite definitely works on a more interdimensional grounding, not so much like in the form of grounding here to Mother Earth, but interdimensionally this helps us ground. So what this was doing is when you add kyanite to the wand, it's acting as an interdimensional grounding, and it's basically diffusing some of the strength that's coming as a result if you were just using selenite and the stick. And so these two combinations, the selenite and the stick, is really strong because the stick, we've come to find out that came from a lightning struck tree, and this tree was infused by lightning, and then on top of that, Sasquatch also said that it was one of their portal trees because it was located next to 4 others, and that's where they were coming in and out of the dimension. And so with regards to that, you can imagine how much intensity is magnified as a result of the wood. And then when the message came that Sasquatch would actually infuse this even more, that's what gave it its buzz. So hence we were able to go out and collect as much as we could, and now you guys have it. So this is just the beginning of one. Squashy Talk Part 1. They're going to be Squashy Talk Part 2, probably Part 3, because there are going to be more and more questions. And as I mentioned, there's a reason why you're supposed to use the box, but right now it's the beginning stages. It also helps you establish a relationship with your Sasquatch guides and also the Sasquatch energy. We'll get to the point where we're going to start to work with circles, and then I'm hearing triangles in addition to creating grids and other energy forms with this. So Sasquatch had indicated that when it comes to working with these sticks and the trees and whatnot, it's to help add additional energy, but to more or less clear. But very simply, you get straight to the point and you clear. Okay, so one other thing I wanted to mention, because I've had questions about this. They said, Garrett, I work with energy, I work with your featherweight teachings, I work with other modalities. Can I use the stick? The answer to that question is yes, you can utilize the stick. You can use the stick to create your own wand. So, this is just a small demonstration of how we combined it with other stones or other crystals. You may be called to work with it in a different way. The other thing too is if you have feathers or a featherweight practitioner, you can use the stick in addition to the feathers to bring a little bit more amplification to the energy, but also to help clear as you're working with those techniques. From an energy perspective, as you're practicing and working with the healing, let's say for example you have your table set up in front of you, it's right here. What you would do is just take your stick, draw it around the table. You draw it around the table, you're running the energy, you're doing the extractions, you're doing the feather, you're clearing them, removing things out, and you're running more. And what's happening is as I mentioned, all that gunk that's being released is just being suctioned back into the Mama Earth, and then the crystalline generators are transmuting it. And then you're continuing to work. You may find that your client's actually going to have a little bit more oomph. They may feel a little bit more sensitivity, or they actually may feel the energy going in and out of their system as they're inside the box. Just remember that after you're done working on them, make sure you close it. You can do that after they leave. What I find is sometimes I give them the stick and say, here, just give them the stick, have them draw the box, and then they can lay or they can sit in it, and then when they're done, they can close it because it gives it a little bit more edge to the clearing because they're doing it. We're just facilitating, we're just helping them to facilitate, but if you give them the stick, it's giving them the power, it's giving them the control to take charge of their healing. And so when they draw it and then they erase it, it's like, oh, all that garbage, all that gunk that no longer serves, we're done. I'm ready to move forward. So it just helps in that way. Okay. Did want to share with you, we got the Squashy medicine bags here. You can find this on my website, on the Facebook page, Novel Illuminations, and we're happy to ship it to you, so just provide the address. You have your chip that's inside the bag, and then there's these other pieces. Garrett, what are these about? So these are the pieces that are in there, in addition to the stick. What these are ponderosa pine chips. One of the things I forget to mention is that this the stick that was gifted to us, the type of tree that it is from, is a ponderosa pine. When you first receive the stick, when you first purchase it or it's gifted to you, what I always tell individuals is smell it, because there's a real strong pine scent to it. But what it's doing is you're also starting to establish energetically a resonance with that energy. So you're smelling it, and you're going to love the smell because it smells like freshly cut pine. But you're also starting to harness the energy of the infusion from Sasquatch. So you have your wood chip, and then the rest of these are the ponderosa pine barks that are in there. Now the reason why this is combined with the chip is because this is being infused. So they're all being infused with squashy energy. So all of these chips that are inside the bag are now infused with intensity from your chip itself. So this is your tool, you keep this. These you may feel free to gift out to others. Since they have the same infusion, you can also demonstrate with them and share the box technique. If you're needing like your plant to get some little bit of revitalization, maybe it's drooping a little bit or it needs a little bit more life, you can add these chips into the soil. And energetically it starts to stimulate the root system along with the plants. Some people have put the chips in their pillowcases and they actually sleep with them. So there's a number of different ways. I just kind of leave that up to you. But you're going to feel the intensity from this is no different from the intensity with these. So that's just a few examples and different ways that you can utilize it. Oh my gosh, Garrett. Oh my gosh, I'm at work, I was rushing, and I completely forgot my stick. Do I have to have my stick in order to draw the box? Initially, yes. When you first start off a relationship with your stick, once you get the hang of it, you're already tuned to its energy. So right now, even though I don't have my stick specifically, the one that I utilize all the time, I can still open in a box, and I just use my fingers for that. So you would just open your box, you step in, and then you're still going to feel, the energy is coming in already. You feel the energy starting to diffuse because it's very intense. I'm touching all these fun things here. I'm getting all activated, but it's helping me ground, but it's also helping diffuse the energy that's a little too high. So once you establish your relationship with the stick, you don't necessarily have to have it with you at all times. I just usually encourage it for the first introduction, for the first few moments that you're working with it, that you want to hold on to it. And then from that instance, you're basically attuned or activated to its energy. And then from that point moving forward, you can just utilize your hands. So after that, you step out and then just use your hands again to clear. And then you may be called to give your stick to someone else and then demonstrate this. So these are just some examples, but as far as working with the square, that's how it is. Hope this helps, answers your questions. Thanks you guys for joining, and thank you guys for joining us on the Squashy Talk. Squashy Talk Part 1. We're going to have Part 2, we're going to have Part 3. There's going to be a lot of different ways we're going to utilize. I think the next time I'm going to demonstrate the circle, and then I also have to demonstrate on how to work with it with an individual as far as them standing inside the box and as an energy practitioner. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much, guys.